National Geographic calls hip hop the world's favorite youth culture. So regardless of your color, your religion, your race, your background, this is something that has been used to define the generation sort of right before us and now is affecting the way we're defining ourselves. And so I think it's just something important that we explore. So I think that the popular opinion right now that they're calling us post-hip-hop is interesting because they say that one of the biggest reasons that is our music and our culture and our expression lacks content. They say that we don't have any stories to tell. They say we don't have that power, that fire, that spirit of rebellion. They say all we care about is pretty boy swag and, you know, making sure we turn our swag out. I mean, it's cool, you know, but is that really what defines us? Is that all there is to it? Is there more to it than that? I think I hear some yeahs out there. There's more to it than that, right? Well, you know, I believe that hip hop is about individual stories that came out of a collective struggle. I think that it's the journey of disenfranchised people. I want to read a quote real quick. Philosopher and social critic A. Shahid Stover takes a very radical view. He says that hip hop culture, when resolutely cultivated, potentially serves as a redemptive, artistic, and intellectual vantage point from which the socio-politically oppressed, the culturally marginalized, the globally dispossessed, the racially outcast, the wretched of the earth can critically engage an oppressive society. And I think that is hip-hop at its best. I relate to the stories of hip-hop because they're similar to my own. I just recited a poem to you that was very, very personal to me. It was my journey. And it wasn't a pretty one. And I haven't always dealt with it in very pretty ways. And it's been a struggle for me. And as I express myself, sometimes I cuss. And it's not Christian, but it comes out. And like hip hop, I've struggled to stay spiritual. And I think I just want to be real with you with that journey right now. Because to me, that's where it starts. So I want to tell you a little bit about where that poem came from, because literally that poem set me free. But it wasn't just a poem. It came from somewhere deep inside of me, and it came from a struggle. I wrote it just actually a couple months ago, and it was a long process that actually morphed into that poem, and I didn't know that it was coming, and I wasn't even really ready for it, but I had to be. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about that process for me. But first, I want to read you a quote from my very favorite poet. Her name is Audre Lorde. And it says this: I write for those women who do not speak, for those who do not have a voice, because they were so terrified, because we are taught to respect fear more than ourselves. We've been taught that silence would save us, but it won't. That quote means a lot to me because I think I was raised, and like a lot of us were, to think that our silence represents that everything is okay. I think the #1 lie in America is "I'm fine," because when people ask us how we're doing, we say "I'm fine," when most of the time we're really not. And sometimes we're great. Like, don't take this as I'm saying that like we never have fun and we never enjoy life and that there aren't great triumphs and everything. But I think sometimes we have to start with being real with the emotional journeys that we're on. So, like I said, the process of the poem coming out, I was going through a lot in my personal life. I was hurting people around me that I loved. I wasn't living up to my full potential in my job. I was struggling with dealing with family. My sister had just moved to Chicago with me. I was the only one supporting her. I was the only one with the job. She was pregnant. So I was staring at being a parental figure in the near future, which I had never planned. And everyone around me was pushing me to be this Tiffany that I didn't believe I could be. As I said in the poem, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw. And I think that we all, at some point in our lives, face that. And it's important to really fight through that. And that's what I did. And that's where that poem came from. And I think when Audre Lorde, I just want to read the second part of her quote again really fast, because she says, "We've been taught that silence would save us, but it won't." And I think that she uses us because this is about something that's collective. This is about all of us. Our individual silence is hurting all of us. And until we are real and until we can really tell these stories and be real with what it takes to go to that next level, to go from being great to being amazing, it's all within us. And so I just want to encourage you with a couple of foundational rules that I have discovered. And I'm going to call them the 5 leadership commandments. Because another song that Notorious B.I.G. had was called the 10 Crack Commandments, if you've ever heard of it. And that's for people who are in the drug culture that can understand how to navigate that culture. But for us as leaders, I think that we have to have some cultural foundations, some rules that we follow as individuals that pulls us together as a collective culture, and that we can create a culture of storytelling that empowers all of us. So I'm gonna go through those real quick, and I tried to use the hip hop theme as I titled them, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about what they mean to me and what I think they mean for us. So the number 1 rule is, you've all heard this, you got to keep it 100. You feel that? Keep it 100, and that means starting with yourself. That was something that I had to learn the hard way. I was engaging people around me in a way that allowed me to have control over my circumstances, but I wasn't engaging emotionally. And I think keeping it 100 is keeping it 100 mentally, physically, and emotionally. That involves your mind, your heart, and your body. And I think it takes all 3 of those, because without your mind, your heart, and your body being on one accord, I think your spirit cannot live. I think that is spirituality at its highest, is when your mind, your heart, and your body are on one accord. So what you're doing is what you're saying is what you believe in your heart. And I think those all have to be on one accord, and that's keeping it 100 to me. So that's within yourself, and that's with those people around you. And then the other part is you have to be real with your past, your passion, and your dreams. And I love the fact that this sort of culture that we're building around dreams, because I think that's very important, to have dreams and to be confident in your dreams and to say your dreams, to profess and claim your dreams amongst other people, and for us to hold each other accountable and affirm people in their dreams. I think that's beautiful. My friend Michael was going to stand up and say my dream yesterday, but he got a little scared. So I'm going to tell you guys my dream.
You want to do it now?
You want to tell me? You want to? What's?
Well, pretty much Tiffanie being up here is a living testament. We met in college, and I was honored to be her psych research partner. And she's an amazing woman, very smart, intellectual, young individual. I mean, when she came back, this is the first time that we've met since we got out of school. Our second time.
Yeah.
This is the first time we got to really had a conversation about what we've been doing. And to have her come back with a book, like, to me, that's has always been Tiffany's dream. Like, I always knew that she was going to be somebody, and so she now is like editing books and publishing books. So that to me is like, inspires me, and like it's just. And now she's a speaker, keynote speaker. That's she's living the dream. And that's very inspiring.
Aww. Thank you, Michael. That was beautiful. Thank you, Michael. Cadre love. No, yeah, I appreciate that. So that actually leads into my my second rule, commandment. because my book is actually titled Poetic Hustles. And the second one is Every Day I'm Hustling. And I think it's very important that we are hustlers. We have to be hustlers. There's a lot of hustlers out there for which money is the motivation. And it's a very, very strong motivator, because there's a lot of people doing a lot of things for money. But we have to discover what is our hustle and what is our motivation. And I believe we are leading transformation, but transformation is a daily process. You cannot sleep and think that you can wake up and that the transformation will still be happening. You have to constantly be transforming yourself and constantly be working towards the transformation of whatever it is that you care about, that you think is worth transforming. So that's a daily process, and it takes hard work and persistence. It's not something you could just set in place, push a button, and expect it to continue to roll. You got to continue to push through. And that's, like I said, that's within, and then that's also out, you know, in the community. So the third one is do your thizzle wiggle. And some of y'all might relate to that. I know somebody out there from the Bay. That's what I thought. But, you know, people from Tacoma actually think that they're from the Bay Area sometimes. So I grew up thinking that Mac Dre was like down the street. But that's something, the whole hyphy culture is something that, you know, the thizzle wiggle and all that, like, I think that it's something that we could learn from, in a sense of have fun, you know, stay inspired, be creative, and be confident. You know, feel yourself every once in a while. You know, there's a lot of things about that culture that's problematic, but I think there's also a lot that we could take away from it. So I want to tell everybody, every once in a while, like, you know, my brother was saying, laugh, have fun, you know, do your thizzle wiggle, just sort of let loose a little bit, you know. Shake your hair, have fun, you know, that's the dance that we had, you know, the comedy that we've been having, that's, you know, that's important. You know, leadership gets hard, you know, all this hustle and persistence, you know, every once in a while you got to sort of, you know, chill back and just relax and enjoy life. The fourth one is F the police. Out of love. I want to say that for sure, because, you know, hatred and anger is only going to tear us down. But I think it is important to speak truth to power. And that's what that song to me, and that's what that phrase epitomizes to me, is, you know, those in the underbelly of society sort of saying, like, we're here and this power establishment is not working for us. And, you know, we need to hold on to that fire and that rebellion, and that, you know, not just being complacent and sort of going with the flow. Every once in a while we got to stand up against the powers that be and say, you know, I'm here and I have a voice, and I'm speaking for more than just me. I'm speaking for, you know, millions of people who are struggling, who are poor, who are, you know, kids that don't eat every day because of the system that's in place that makes it that way.